What's up guys, Mickle here, and for those of you who don't know, Ripple is actually currently in another case right now against a group of investors suing them, saying that when they bought XRP, they were buying an illegal security. Well, we actually had the first hearing from that case happen just today, and I was one of the only 500 people who got on that call. In this video, I want to break down what went down on that hearing, whether or not I think this case is going to be significant. Now, there actually was some wins on both sides of the aisle here. I want to break down exactly what went down. This thing was actually very interesting. You guys are definitely going to want to hear this. Towards the end of the video though, I want to show you something mind-blowing that happened just today, and I think it's going to lead to a faster adoption of cryptocurrencies in the market, and I want to share with you why I think Ripple is perfectly positioned to capture most of this adoption. Stick around to the end of the video to see that. This is shocking. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Make sure if you haven't already, you like this video and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a couple seconds and is going to help this channel out so much. Also, if you ever need a good place to buy some XRP or the Flare token, make sure to check out my favorite exchange Uphold down in the description of this video. With that said though, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So I want to start off and talk about this new case that Ripple was in. Now, I was on the call earlier today and it was pretty fascinating. I want to start off and really just break down what this case is about. So essentially you have some random day trader who bought XRP and then sold XRP. I think he lost like $15. It was only a $200 trade, and he's suing Ripple saying that Ripple sold him an illegal security. Now, when I first got on the call, I noticed that the judge didn't know anything about cryptocurrency, and I was pretty worried. One of the things I always say in these cryptocurrency cases is it is critical that the judge understands cryptocurrencies. The reason that's so important is because if the judge doesn't understand cryptocurrencies, they're very likely to think it's a security. And the reason for that is because the idea of decentralization is such a hard concept to wrap your head around. It's really hard for a judge who doesn't know anything about decentralization, doesn't understand blockchain technology, to wrap their head around the fact that Ripple doesn't actually control XRP. They just use the decentralized network for their business. So I was a little skeptical at that point, and then essentially the person suing Ripple came out and was trying to disregard the 75,000 XRP holders gathered by John Deaton. He was essentially saying all these holders don't really matter because even if they don't want XRP to be security, if XRP is a security, it really doesn't matter. And the judge was kind of agreeing with him and saying, well, why do they even really matter? Because if the issue at hand is just between you and Ripple, why do we need these other 75,000 XRP holders? And at this point, I was like, oh no, this lady really doesn't get it. But then things really started to turn around. Essentially, once Ripple started arguing their points, it seemed like the judge kind of completely flipped. She said that the other day she actually went to her first cryptocurrency conference, which I thought was pretty funny, and she said, I don't really understand how you could have this one guy saying he bought XRP as an investment contract, but then everyone else says they were just using it for utility. How does that make XRP a security? So if I just bought XRP and I went and bought XRP, and the judge was saying that from her perspective, she said if I went and bought XRP just to send money somewhere, would that mean I bought an investment contract with Ripple? And she was kind of pointing to the obvious fact that no, it wouldn't mean you just bought an investment contract with Ripple. And then she went on to say, is there even any real investment contract out there between Ripple and any XRP holders? And obviously the answer to that was no. So this judge was very quickly catching on to the fact that, hey, this one guy might have bought XRP thinking he was investing in Ripple, but he wasn't. There was no investment contract. And this was a massive leap for the judge. For her to wrap her head around this so quickly was extremely impressive, and I think we have a really good judge here. I was a little skeptical at first of her cryptocurrency knowledge, but she's a very sharp lady, and even though she might not know all the ins and outs of crypto, she certainly understood how the law should be applied to it. So the fact that she wrapped her head around that so quickly was definitely a big start. She then went on to say, hey, how can this one person be trying to make every single XRP in the world a security if other places in the world don't even think it's a security? So she obviously very quickly caught on to the main issue. This one guy says he was buying an investment contract with Ripple, but the rest of the world disagrees. So I thought this was a really positive sign, and looking back at why she wanted to kick the 75,000 XRP holders out of the case started to make a little more sense. I think the main reason she wanted to disclude the 75,000 XRP holders was just because it made things more complicated. I think at the end of the day, she already was thinking, okay, there's no way I'm going to call XRP a security in this case. Do I really need these 75,000 XRP holders in the case to make that determination? I think she kind of came to the conclusion of, hey, I don't need these 75,000 XRP holders in this case for me to understand that this one person buying XRP and selling it doesn't make it a security for everyone in the entire world. So I thought that was extremely interesting. I think overall things did go in Ripple's favor. Now, I really do think this case is going to end up being a nothing burger. I think the judge is going to go to the person suing Ripple and say, okay, Ripple, pay him his 250 bucks he lost, and now let's move on. Now, I don't think she's going to make any determination that XRP is a security. It seemed like even she knew this case was kind of over her head. So ultimately, I think this is going to turn into a giant nothing burger. I think this guy is going to spend a lot of money on lawyers trying to sue Ripple, trying to make this landmark crypto case. And this judge is just going to say, what do you want me to do? This is definitely not something I should be making a massive determination on. Look, I'll give you your $200 back, but other than that, this is not an issue for me. Now, I don't think he's entitled to this $200. This lady, this judge, just seemed like she's the kind of person who would say, okay, well, how are we going to complain if you get your money back? Overall, I really liked her. I think she did a really good job, and I was really impressed how quickly she caught on to the main issues in this case. So now I want to move on and talk about something absolutely insane that happened earlier today that is going to completely change the way the world operates. And I do not say that lightly at all. This is absolutely massive, and it has everything to do with Ripple and XRP. So earlier today was the first time in history that the Chinese yuan overtook the US dollar as the most used currency in China's cross-border transactions. That is absolutely massive. We have been talking about narratives relating to de-dollarization for the last 2 years. Everyone has been saying this time is going to come, and time after time the people calling for that were called conspiracy theorists. People said no one is ever going to ditch the US dollar. There's no alternative. What else are people going to do? No one's going to want the Chinese yuan. And it turns out none of that is playing out. What we are seeing is countries are racing to de-dollarize. Countries no longer trust the US dollar because the United States has been using the dollar as a weapon. Why would any country who doesn't trust the US or thinks maybe one day they might not be able to trust the US want to hold the US dollar when they can just hold their own currency? Now, for a while, it was hard for them to hold their own currency. It was hard to secure banking relations if they were holding their own currency. The United States had the deepest financial system out there, and the dollar was the most liquid asset ever. So it was pretty easy just to say, okay, we'll just use the US dollar. But times are changing rapidly. As we move to an internet where value can be stored natively on it, it's going to be so much easier for countries all over the world to build liquid currency markets. And what we're seeing right now is the digital Chinese yuan is helping to make that happen. Now that China has more liquid markets, they are able to conduct cross-border payments, cross-border trade with their own currency. And this means that every country China's trading with are also going to be using more of China's currency. So we are moving to a world where countries are going to start moving away from using the dollar. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they'll never use the dollar again, and it doesn't even necessarily mean they don't trust the dollar. But it does mean they're moving away from it from one reason or another, and it could just because they want to build up their own currency. For a while, that was almost impossible. It was really hard for countries to build their own currency liquid enough to perform these cross-border payments. But what we're seeing now with the Internet of Value is that is becoming easier. We are going to move to a world where the dollar is going to be a lot less prominent in cross-border trade. And for a while, the only reason other countries were using the US dollar for cross-border trade was simply because it was the easiest thing out there. But what we are moving to is a world where you don't need to use another country's currency for cross-border trade. And what cryptocurrency and what company are looking to completely change this system? Well, it could not be more obvious. It's Ripple and XRP. And it doesn't get more simple than this one gift that I show all the time. XRP is the bridge currency. If the United States needs to send US dollars to China, but China doesn't want to hold US dollars, well then the United States can take US dollars, convert it to XRP, send that XRP to China, and China can convert that XRP to Yuan. And it can go back and forth the same way. Pretty much every single currency in the world just needs to be made liquid to XRP. Once it's made liquid to XRP, it is liquid to every other currency in the world, and suddenly XRP is the perfect bridge currency for sending money all around the world without having to have one country have its national currency in the middle of the trade. You are never going to have another country with their currency in the middle of the trade again. No one trusts each other, and it doesn't make sense to do it that way because it is so much easier just to have everything liquid to one asset. This is the world we're moving towards, and one other reason why I know it's going to be XRP and not some other project out there is this picture right here. What you're looking at, and I know it's hard to see, but what you are looking at is every single member of Ripple currently who worked at a massive government institution. We see right now that there is no other cryptocurrency company out there that has this kind of representation in government or massive bank or even organizations like Swift. The reason Ripple is set up like this is because they are the company who was chosen to disrupt this system. The world desperately needs a new settlement layer, and Ripple and XRP are positioned to be that settlement layer. Things are moving towards this scenario rapidly. It is so much faster than I ever envisioned, but that means we are so much closer to the solution, which I believe in my mind firmly is Ripple and XRP. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. It really does mean so much. And for now, Mickle out.